Hello, good morning, all of you. Today we are going to have an introduction or an orientation about IELTS. IELTS is actually also known as the International English Language Testing System, is the world's most popular high-stakes English language test. It is usually conducted for people who would like to migrate or in order to work or study in English speaking countries like Ireland, UK, Canada, such kind of places. So today we will have an introduction about what is IELTS. IELTS is the most widely accepted English language test that uses one-on-one speaking to test the various kind of modules. You can choose from the two versions of the test, that is IELTS Academic or IELTS General Training, depending on the organization you are applying to and your plans for the future. If you want to study or work in countries like Ireland, UK, you need academic version. Whereas if you want to migrate to places like Canada, you need to take general training test. So let's see an overview about today's class. What is IELTS? We will today discuss what is IELTS, its test format, and the test modules. So what is IELTS? It is a test that is designed to assess the English language ability of people who intend to study or work where English is the language of communication. So it tests all the four types of communication, the methods that we use, that is listening, reading, writing, and speaking, the four mediums through which we communicate. It will test our English proficiency. It is not the test of your honesty, but the test of your language. There are three partners for IELTS. The first partner is British Council, second is IDP, and the third one is University of Cambridge or ESOL examination. That is, British and IDP conducts IELTS test for the candidates. University of Cambridge set the questions that you will receive during your test date through ESOL examinations. So these are the three partners of IELTS test. There are two versions, as I said, or two modules, that is academic and general training. As I said, there will be, that may vary according to your need and your plans. That is, in which it will depend upon the country which you are going to apply and your plans for the future. The IELTS test results is valid for about 2 years from the date of your exam. Okay, there are different modules, that is listening, reading, writing, and speaking, and each subtest will have a band score. That is, for example, you need, if you're for UK, you need 7 for listening, individual 7 for reading, individual 7 for writing, and again individual 7 for speaking. The band score usually ranges from 1 to 9. As we say, the mark, it is same as the band score. In IELTS, there is no marks. It is all band score. There is no passing or failing of examination or failing mark. It is up to the requirement based on different specific countries. The band scores, actually is the band scale. This is band 9. If you get band 9, it proves that you are an expert user in English. If you got band 8, it shows that you are a very good user in English. And you will be, if you are a good user, you will be awarded with band 7. And if you're a competent user, you will get only band 6. So it will vary according to your proficiency in English. IELTS test format, if we speak about the test format, there are 4 versions or 4 subtests. That is listening, speaking, reading, and writing. As I said, listening and speaking is common for the 2 versions, that is academic and general. But reading and writing is a little bit different in its test format. That is, in academic reading, you will get all academic passages. That is based on certain researches, based on some kind of theories, or based on any academic journals, textbooks, such kind of things. Whereas you will receive in general training reading, all the reading passages will be based on the social context. Like they will give you a poster and some questions may ask. But more or less, for academic as well as general training reading, you will get the same type of task. That is, the questions will be of same type. Writing have a little bit difference. That is, there are, in writing, there will be two tasks, task 1 and task 2. In academic writing, you will get task 1 as a graph. That can be a pie chart, line graph, or a bar diagram, or a diagram itself. And in task 2, you will get it as an essay based on a topic. When compared to academic writing, in general writing, you will get a letter writing for task 1. But task 2 is same for academic as well as general training writing. That is, you will get an essay. Both of them are same. So you will have a difference only in task 1. As I said, it will be actually listening and speaking will be same for general as well as for academic writing. If we look into each subtest, first thing is listening test, and it will be conducted. Normally, it is in if we say about Indian setup, it will be conducted on 2 days. One day for speaking, and the second day will be listening, reading, and writing consequently. If we take the first test, that is a listening test, it will approximately 30 minutes you will get. There will be an audio played, and it will last for about 30 minutes, and you will get an additional 10 minutes in order to transfer your questions. There will be about 40 questions, and the type of task will vary, like multiple choice, matching the plan, matching labeling the plan, map labeling as well as diagram labeling, photo form or not completion, table completion, flowchart completion, summary completion, sentence completion, and short answer questions. Such kind of task you will receive in listening test. So during this 30 minutes time, you need to write down the answers in the question booklet itself, and towards the end, you will get additional 10 minutes. It will be allowed to transfer their answers to your answer sheets. Okay, so listening module is actually same for both academic and general training versions. There will be 4 sections and about 10 to 14 questions in each sections, and 10 questions in each section, and a total of 40 questions. As I said, there are 4 sections. The first section, the conversation will be between 2 people set in everyday social context. Like if you want to rent a house, a person is calling another agency in order to, a person who is looking for a job. Such kind of conversation can be expected in the first section. In the second section, it is actually a monologue set in everyday social context. Again, that is there will be a speech or a talk by one person. It will be like a tourist guide giving a description to the tourist people, a guide who is showing the plan or the floor plan of a library. Such kind of talk, like only one person will talk on a social context. Okay, so that can be expected in section 2. Section 3 is somewhat different and a little bit difficult also. It will be a conversation between up to 4 people set in an educational or a training context. It will be, the content will be academic. That is 2 or 3 people talking about their presentation, their upcoming presentation. There will be a discussion by a group of people about research, how they can do it. Such kind of talks can be expected. So more or less, the questions will be multiple choice questions, and you need to identify who is speaking and answer accordingly. Section 4 is actually a monologue on an academic subject. It will be a talk by only one person, and the content is academic. Like, for example, a person presenting their research, a person giving a class or a lecture on some topics. Such kind of contents can be expected in section 4. More or less, the questions can be fill in the blanks. In your listening test, you always need to go through your instructions. That is, whether the answer should be one word or two word and a number, whether we need to exclude the number. Such kind of instructions you will get before the question. So that's all about listening test. This is actually a representation of a question booklet that you will receive in your listening. You will receive a question booklet along with your audio. You need to go through each and every question. Most of the questions will be in an order, so don't worry about it. Some questions like labeling, such kind of things can be mismatched, like not in an order, but most of the questions are in an order. So this is actually the answer sheet of listening test. Next, we will discuss about reading test. This is actually a reading module, usually takes about 60 minutes. That is 1 hour. We will take it as 60 minutes without transferring time. Okay, I mean, there will be no transfer time extra you will get. As you read, you need to answer. You will not you will not get extra time to transfer your answers to the answer sheet. Reading module is not the same for academic and general training. It is actually different. Task types the task questions will be of the same kind for academic and general, but the test format and the content is a little bit different. Okay, so for both modules, we can say there are 3 sections with a total of 40 questions in all. Each section has one or more of the various task types. All the instructions are usually printed on the question booklets. Okay, so you can receive different type of questions like multiple choice, identifying the information like true, false, not given, identifying writer's claim, that is writer's opinion. We will say it as yes, no, not given according to the passage. Then matching the information, matching the headings, matching the features, as well as you can receive matching the sentence endings. There are also different tasks like sentence completion, summary completion, note completion, and table completion. These are different type of tasks. In further classes, we will discuss each type in detail. Don't worry about the different type of tasks. Academic reading test, as I said, the texts are authentic and taken from books, journals, magazines, newspapers. There will be 3 sections with actually a total length of 2,150 words to 2,750 words. Don't worry about the content. There will be 3 passages and different questions. It is actually written for non-specialist audience and are on academic topics of general interest. The text usually ranges from descriptive to factual to discursive and analytical. It will contain also non-verbal material such as diagrams. In order to label the diagram, such kind of task can be expected. But general training is a little bit different. That is, the content is a little bit different. Section 1, you can receive, it can contain 2 or 3 factual tests, that is topics relevant to everyday life in an English-speaking country. For example, you might receive a poster or a letter, and you need to read through and answer the questions. Section 2 contains 2 factual texts focusing on work-related issues. First one is in social context, and the second one is in work-related content. Section 3 contains 1 longer, more complete text on a topic of general interest. Texts are authentic, taken from notices, advertisements, company handbooks, books, magazines, newspapers, and official documents. It is more actually we can expect questions based on the everyday uh, happenings of the daily life. So this is actually an example for academic reading. This is the example of a passage. You will receive an OMR sheet just the same as listening. It will be upside down. Listening will be on the one side and reading will be on the other side. So next we can see what is writing test. Writing test is also is an activity which takes about 1 hour to complete, that is 16 minutes. There are two tasks. Candidates are required to write at least 150 words in task 1 and at least 250 words in task 2. There are two different types, task 1 and task 2. For task 1, whether it is general or academic, you need to write 150 words at least. And for task 2, you need to write at least 250 words. So as I said, there are two parts for task 1. Generally, you will get a letter, and for academic, you will get a report, that is a graph, that is a diagram or a pie chart or something like that. But task 2, you will get an essay, and for academic and general, it is the same. In task 1 academic, you will get you need to report a table, graph, chart, diagram, or anything like that. The candidate must describe and explain the data, describing the stages of the process, describe an event or object from a given. It is actually, we are reporting something which is picturized in a paper. Okay, we are seeing some kind of a picture. That can be a graph, that can be a pie chart, something else. I mean, anything we can expect, and we are reporting that. That is what is expected in academic writing task 1. Task 2 is you will get a topic, and you need to write an essay in response to a point of view with your opinion. Sometimes there will be the questions can ask for your opinion, your argument, or some kind of facts. Okay. Response for both these tasks should be in a formal style. For academic, you should write in a formal style, not informal. You should not write in anything in informal. So in general training writing test, the task 1, candidates are presented with a situation and are asked to write a letter. The letter may be personal, semi-formal, or in a formal style. It can be formal or informal. Most, for example, the questions like you're changing your place from one to another, and you need to have a change in your bank account, and you are writing a letter to your bank manager. So it is actually a formal letter. So such kind of questions can be expected in task 1. Task 2 is the same for general as well as academic. That is, you need to write an essay in response to a point of view or an argument or a problem. This is more personal in style than academic. In writing tests, there are certain skills that are assessed, that is the content, organization of ideas, your accuracy for your points, the vocabulary that is used, as well as the grammar. These are some of the criteria, or we cannot say it as a criteria. These are some of the skills that are assessed in your writing. Speaking, the last module, that is it will last about 11 to 14 minutes. If we simply say speaking test as a face-to-face interview with an examiner, you yourself, you are the candidate, and you will have an examiner in a closed hotel room. The speaking test is actually recorded. You will not see the timer, but you need to stick to a time during your part 2. There are 3 sections for speaking test: section 1, section 2, and section 3, or part 1, part 2, and part 3. Part 1 is actually an ice-breaking section, that is in introduction and interview. It will last for about 3 to 4 minutes, and it is the area where the examiner identify you and confirms identity, and may ask certain general questions on familiar topics, for example, home, hometown, colors, robots, or such kind of general topics, that is random topics. It will be more or less personal questions, like for example, what is your favorite color? Why do you like this color? Is it the same color which you liked in the past? So it will be more or less your personal opinion will be asked for. And for the part 1 or the section 1, you need to answer in about 2 to 3 sentences. Always remember to answer whenever they give a chance to speak. Always speak in a sentence. Section 2 or part 2, or also known as cue card section, it is actually an individual long turn. It will take about 3 to 4 minutes. Candidate will be given a task card or a cue card. Candidate will be given 1 minute to prepare on their topic. That is, you will be given a topic, and along with some sub questions, you need to frame a talk based on the sub questions. Within 1 minute, you will be given a paper and pencil in order to prepare yourself. Then they will ask you to talk for about 1 to 2 minutes. You need to complete all your sub questions within these 2 minutes. Examiner then asks the candidate 1 to 2 questions based on the same topic during the cue card section in order to make it more clear. No worries, nothing to worry. We will deal each section in detail as well as the relevant questions every day. Don't worry. So speaking test is actually part 3. It is a two-way discussion which will last for about 4 to 5 minutes. Examiner asks further questions related to the topic on part 2. It is a discussion area, the questions will be related to the topic that is asked on the part 2. If you get a question, for example, if you get a question like talk about your favorite room, you can expect if it is the part 2 question, that is a cue card question, and you can expect the part 3 question as your questions related to your home, your personal room, the arrangements in the room. Such kind of questions you can expect. Another example is if you get a question on part 2, that is the cue card section, as describe a time when you used your imagination. If this is the cue card question, and you can receive questions related to imagination, creativity. Such kind of questions can be expected in part 3. So it will be a discussion session, and they may argue, and you need to counter argue in order to establish your viewpoint. This can be more or less about abstract or academic or factual information you need to give, not your personal opinion. There will be some questions which ask for your personal opinion you can give, but more or less you can stick to factual information actually. Anyhow, you need to answer in about 5 to 7 sentences minimum, because actually it is a discussion area. You will have more marks for this section. These questions can be given the candidate an opportunity to discuss more abstract issues and ideas. Speaking test criteria, there are certain things that are based on which they mark you. That is the fluency, that is ability to talk at a natural rate without causing too much effort for the listener. Then vocabulary range, grammatical range and accuracy, pronunciation. So we will deal each and everything in detail, don't worry. So you are now associated with WebInspire Online IELTS